my name is John Grishpul, and I am the co-founder of Great Buildz.
What inspired you to create Great Buildz?
Well, it's a long story, but in short, my grandfather was in the trades. He was an electrician. So I've kind of been around the concept of construction my whole life. And about 6, 7 years ago, I was living at home with my mom, and she was planning a bathroom remodel. She thought it would be easy, find a few contractors, get a few bids, hire the right one, no problem. However, surely enough, it was never that easy. Finding the right contractor really truly seemed to be the most difficult aspect of it. So that really got me thinking, what is the real problem here? There's so many websites out there to find contractors, Google, right? There's so many ways. How are people still struggling to find a good contractor? And what I realized, it really came down to the fact that there's so many contractors. In LA County alone here, there are over 20,000 licensed general contractors, which means it's like finding a needle in the haystack. There's so much fluff, just like finding the best taco in Los Angeles. There's no concrete number one best taco. There's different tacos for different types of people. So all of that kind of universe really got me thinking, and I ended up getting together with my uncle, who's now my business partner, and his background was in construction and development. He was building, he was flipping tons of homes, and he also knew firsthand how many bad contractors there are out there. So we really put our heads together and started thinking about what we could do to resolve that issue, whether it's helping homeowners, guiding them through the process, giving them advice and guidance once they're already in a pickle. And that really is what led us to what we have here with Great Buildz, when we realized that the only way, the best way to ensure that homeowners have a successful remodel is by making sure that they only work with qualified, reliable, trustworthy contractors. So that's really all Great Buildz is. We have a vetted network of general contractors all throughout California. And like I said, there is no such thing as the number one best taco. There's no such thing as the number one best contractor either. Different contractors have different specialties, different skill sets, and different geographies. So when it comes to finding the right contractor for a project, there is a lot of hand-holding. There's a lot of management required to make sure that the homeowner is meeting and selecting the right contractors that best fit their personality, their household, and their project.
And you're talking about a field that will be primarily human focused forever. So, how can you combine new technology like AI helping with the contractor roles?
That's a great question. Look, I would say I've seen a few robot builders, so maybe it's not impossible, but I agree we're at this point nowhere close. So at the end of the day, and especially considering not just the fact that it's a physical space, but it's an older industry as well. A lot of people in the trades, the people with the most experience, have been doing it since before a lot of these technologies existed. Some of them still write estimates by hand because that's what they're most comfortable with. So when it comes down to finding ways to integrate modern technology and AI and other things like that into this industry, it's really finding the synergies that exist. For example, I know that there's some contractor tools that contractors are currently using to compile estimates, to develop their bids, to do the cost estimating piece of it. That's innovative. Similar to that, project management is a space that is currently very human-led, but it can certainly also be enhanced through different AI technologies. And what I'd like to talk about most is helping homeowners with enabling AI technology to make their lives easier, to help make it easier for them to make decisions. And that's why I created Bid Compare AI.
Yeah, let's talk about it. How are you helping homeowners?
So like I said, comparing bids and picking the right contractor is really the hardest part, one of the hardest parts. And for anyone who has remodeled in the past, you get multiple bids from different contractors. it very rarely will they ever look the same. Will they ever say the same thing? Even if the homeowner does a really good job at controlling their scope and telling the contractors, three, four, five contractors, exactly what their scope of work is, everyone's going to interpret it differently. Everyone's going to compile a bid differently, not to mention the fact that some contractors always include the cost of materials and they cover that. Other contractors say, I don't buy any finished materials, that's on the homeowner, I'll install it for you. So when you have so much variability from bid to bid, that's what makes it really difficult to know which bid is better than the others. Which one am I getting the best deal with? So my tool that I created, Bid Compare AI, really helps demystify the process of evaluating bids. It's pretty simple. Homeowners just need to upload their estimates onto the Bid Compare AI platform, click submit, and within a few minutes, they get two things that at least, I think are really helpful. The first is the bid comparison. It scans through each of the estimates that the homeowner received. It turns that into OCR so that this brain, the ChatGPT, the AI brain, can understand what's included in those bids, and then it lines them up in an Excel doc, scope line item by line item, putting them apples to apples. And it'll clearly show if there are numbers reflected within the estimate, it'll show the number for that line item. If there's no numbers, because some contractors don't do it that way, it'll say green check mark, yes, this is included, red X, this is not included, or a yellow question mark, I'm not sure, you should verify. So that's really the first piece. It's going to help you take these totally different looking bids and really line them up side by side. But that's typically not enough because, again, for the average homeowner, now they're just kind of looking at a bunch of numbers. What does this really mean? So the tool also provides you with a full detailed analysis of those bids. It'll point out key differentiators, what's included in this one and what's not included in that one. It'll point out red flags of this number is suspiciously lower than the other numbers from the other contractors. This is worth looking into. And furthermore, the final thing that it provides homeowners is a list of follow-up questions. Here's 3 questions you should ask all of the contractors. Here's 5 questions you should specifically ask contractor A to clarify their bid, specific questions for B, and questions for C. So with the bid comparison and the detailed analysis, that really arms homeowners to to compete on an even playing field with those contractors.
What were your initial thoughts on using AI
For this tool specifically or just in general?
in general?
So, I mean, I've been following the concept of AI before we even really called it AI, and I've always been a techie. I've always been enamored by what the future holds, what the coolest new gadget might do. So, I've always been enthused around the concept of AI. And over the past few years, now that a lot of it has really come into the mainstream, and obviously so many amazing, impressive tools and capabilities that many of us never would have even considered the AI would be doing for us. It's really, really exciting to see what it can do, how it can help our workflows, both in business and enhance our lives personally as well.
What is it like helping homeowners?
That's why I do what I do. I used to work in sales. I used to work in marketing, and I thought that I hated it. Frankly, 10 years ago when I started my career, I decided I would never go back into marketing or sales because it feels weird. I don't love it. But what I really learned was I was selling the wrong product. I was marketing the wrong services. So I was really always looking for what industry, what type of work can really fulfill me and make me feel good about what I was doing. And I've certainly learned that I do love sales. I do love marketing as long as it's something that I believe in. And every day, myself and the rest of my team help homeowners, whether it's demystifying the confusing process of remodeling or matching them with the right contractor or just answering a simple question knowing enough about this industry that I can be a wealth of knowledge and a valuable tool for homeowners, nothing feels better than that. And I mean, if I'm having a bad day or if I'm overwhelmed with work or otherwise, I hop on Google and I read some of the reviews that people have left, mostly not about me, but about my team and about the amazing work that they do. And honestly, that brightens my day more than anything. So I love helping homeowners.
Where do you think AI and humans are going to go in the next few years?
Well, like I said, robots will be building homes. Not too far in the distant future. I've seen it. I don't know if you've ever seen the GIF of a robot trying to paint a home. That did not go nearly as well. Honestly, I think that the physical space is pretty safe, but seeing the enhancements and the evolution of AI just over the last few years through agentic and just so many other capabilities through mixed modal, right? There and what Meta's been doing with the glasses, and I think Amazon's been on that page as well. You know, they are only embedding themselves more and more into our everyday lives, they being the AI beings. It's okay to personify them at this point, right?
Right.
Um, I I think those who are fighting it because they're resistant to the concept will only be left in the dust. I know some people who are kind of against using it. I know a lot of creatives who are very anti generative AI because it's not as good as what they do, or it's kind of taking over their roles, and I totally understand that. But whether it's a part of operating a business from the front end or from the back end, or just supporting our everyday lives, I think we're getting closer and closer to a point where, you know, it's going to free humans up to do the things that they want to do more and the things that humans are truly best at rather than what a computer can do for them.
How can people reach out to you and learn more?
So you can visit our website at greatbuilds.com with a Z at the end. Otherwise, if you want to reach me directly, you can find me on LinkedIn or send me an email. My email is jon at greatbuilds.com.